Well, I need to welcome you back, and we'll see with the big story for today. And we're looking at the present hardship, and not just only that, but looking at the policies and reforms of this administration in tackling it. If you could also still remember, during that very inaugural speech, many will say, well, the policies, the direction of this administration was in every way highlighted. Hence, well, a need for us to really look at it and review it. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. And I still have my guest right here. I'm talking of no other person but Chief Daniel Akibo. But well, you also would know that it's about time we go get a message from our sponsors. I was talking about Benita Gas, located right here in Ugeli, Okokoko, Warrior, and environs. And when we come back, more discussion centered on the big story for today.
Oh, yeah, follow the road, auto better quality. If you talk gas matter, oh, yeah, follow Beneta. Gas with the better quality. Beneta gas. That's where they full rich man to Beneta gas. Home delivery, brother, na sharply. Beneta gas. For Beneta gas, no mago man to Beneta gas. Different type of gas cylinder. I mean, I got gas we go last you well out. Na Beneta gas. For gas matter, Beneta now do. Beneta gas. Gas service in a them they run. Na Beneta gas. Beneta make you carry go.
For gas matter and home delivery, make you wire Beneta gas plant for 080-6745-7890 and 080-5904-7722. Beneta gas plant, the tequila of gas matters.
Well, definitely you do know when it truly matters, you need to bring that business right here, and let's see how we can talk business and bring you on the big story, because the big story, like I will always insist, is big enough to accommodate all your businesses. But anyway, we're still the business of the day, and we're talking about the present hardship, and looking at these administration policies and reforms. Would they truly reform and change things, or do you feel the policies and reform is even the reason we are where we are now? Is a question. But a question I'll also be asking my guests, and I'm talking of no other person but Chief Daniel Akibo. And well, let's look at it. Before we went on the break, we looked, or we basically looked at how really difficult things are for the ordinary Nigerian. And you feel there's a total disconnect between the elites and those ruling us and the ordinary Nigerians. Hence, they do not truly feel what we are feeling. But anyway, talk about feeling it and talking about the reasons we are where we are. If you look at it, the world GDP, according to the World Bank, is about 2.9%, down from 3.46% in 2022. That means the present hardship is not only new to Nigeria, and we're not the only ones facing it. But if you look at the reasons for why the world economy seems to be slowing down, well, you look at the issue of the war in Ukraine as a major factor and other things. But let's leave where the world is and look at where we are. Do you feel that because where we are at present is more of a self-infliction due to our policies and programs? Do you feel that's where we are? Because yes, you made mention first of the issue of fuel subsidy removal as a basic one, and not having to the way to deal with the shocks that came along with the removal. And not only that, we also look at the issue of collapsing the forex window into one. Many will say it's also attributed for the high cost of where the dollar is for today. And also we take our mind back to the issue of even before now. I could still remember in April 2021, the governor of Edo State came out to even blame the then government of President Muhammad Buhari of the CBN printing naira. So if you look at all of these, so it's not even attributed to this earlier administration. But where my question lies now is, do you feel our policies and programs or reforms of this administration, the previous, have been a reason we are now where we are? Is it more of a self-inflicted issue we're facing, or more of an external one that we do not have control over?
Well, these are not things we can absolutely ascribe to external problems. There are more of self-inflicted problems than whatever is coming from the global economic recession.
Okay.
For instance, the previous administration of President Muhammadu Buhari already took Nigerians to a pedestal where we were breathless. We were shocking. And that made Nigerians to crave for a new administration perceived to have fresh ideas to drive the economy. And now, for people who were aspiring to take over from that administration, it was expected that since they knew where Nigerians were and where the economy of the nation was before aspiring to take over, constant demand that you go and understudy how you can surpass these challenges. Immediately you take over. Good enough, from the period of the election to the time of taking over has 2-3 months.
February to May. With
which any right-thinking person or institution can undergo the basic training or sensitization of the hub of people you need to run the economy with.
The country.
Let me draw you back again to a scenario in Delta State the other time. When the Governor James Ibori was about stepping out, Governor Emmanuel Odoaha won the election, and between that election period and the swearing-in date of May 29, 2007, there was what Odoaha did, organizing seminars for the people he looked on, a circle of people he was going to choose his commissioners from. And there were several retention programs, to bring this people into perspective of what the government wants to do when they take over. Now, I am not giving him the credit of being the best governor in Delta State, but at least the step makes you understand that he had an idea and he wants the people that are going to work with him to follow that suit. So he has to bring them into that awareness. Nigeria today, there seems not to be that kind of window for those coming in to understudy their going persons, to know where they failed and how to better the stock. So today, in spite of whatever is happening around the whole world, the euphoria, the enthusiasm with which Nigerians welcomed this administration, we are told that after that historic declaration on the day of inauguration, swearing in that we are removing fuel subsidy and things are going to get better, by 3 months' time, we are supposed to be feeling, even if just perceiving the aroma of how better things could be. But that is never the case. If you look at the situation, they just prepare to step into power. Policies, we keep talking. The leaders, they keep talking. Nigerians are good at talking. Even right here in the studio, we are talking about good enough. We were not mandated to talk and be taken for action and like a way for implementation at the federal level. People were elected and appointed to talk and implement. For instance, you have a National Assembly that churns out bills and motions every week, which are passed by the Assembly, National Assembly, and assented to by the President. All of these bills and motions, if half, even a quarter of them are implemented, this country will never remain the same. But no, we keep on bringing new laws. Even if that law has been existing, for you to be seen to be working as a lawmaker, you bring out a new one. And there's no follow-up on the implementation after the president has assented to these laws. So those are the problems we are facing in this country. Lack of implementation, lack of sustainership of policies. A new government comes and introduces its own policies, abandon the projects of the former administration and try to set up new ones. All boils down to the element of corruption inherent in the leadership class.
Okay, now anyways, let's look at it, because we're still looking at the policies and reforms, and seeing whether it can really change the narrative of where we are now, with inflation hovering around 26.75%, one of the highest in 18 years ever, and not just only that, with food inflation put at how it is now. And most certainly, just like you said, we are still in the raining season where there is plenty. And in the dry season, only God knows what will come. But let's quickly look at some of even the decisions being taken by this administration. And I want your reactions to them, to see whether they either help to reduce the problem or in every way elevate the problem to a very scary level. And one I want us to quickly look at is the issue of the 43 items unbanned by the CBN. Just a week ago. Now I want your reactions to that. Do you feel that's the right step, or do you feel it will also compound the problem of Forex?
The truth is that it will further compound it, because the baseline, there have not been the appropriate structure for it to thrive and bring a rebound to the economy. You can see that what is happening within the CBN, there is even another disconnect between the CBN and the federal government itself. That is the presidency. They don't appear to work in harmony.
Why do you feel so?
And the lack of this harmonious relationship bounces back to the people through bad economy that emanates from those policies. You are asking what made me feel so. Just before the expiration of the administration of Buhari, there was this new Naira policy.
Okay, of course.
That we are still hoping or looking forward to, that by December, the old Naira notes would phase out. Now, if you look at what happened at that time, there was this basic disconnect between the legislature and the executive
on the Naira notes.
They were not on the same page, and the effect, we are still feeling it up to this moment, because we can see that we have expended more in printing few
of the new
Naira notes. Now it is not available. You forcefully took out the old ones. They have to be injected back. So this new policy is still going to be the same thing. It is not about that. There have to be a driving force. There have to be commitment. And that commitment is never been seen. How do we see that commitment? Today, the economy is so very bad for the ordinary Nigerian. But the elites are never affected in any way. Their stipends, their wages, their income, they keep increasing. If we have sincere people, they will know that as the economy is going down, we need to cut our sizes, our material according to our size. Now, a lawmaker that will go home with an SUV valued at close to 30 million naira, what is he going to tell his constituents? That the economy is bad? Nil. Now, if he has conscience, that National Assembly could say, with the way the economy is, give us smaller vehicles, plow the money back.
So you feel they are not just in tune with what's happening?
They are not in tune, and they don't even care. Why is it that every time it is the ordinary Nigerians that feels it? If the economy is going downward, your salaries don't go down. Fuel goes up. The average civil servant will have to pay more going to work for you. But you who is in charge of that affairs, it does not affect you in any way. Sometimes they even have free fuel dumps where they drive to, feed their tanks, and drive away. So it does not even come from their pocket in any way. So if the minister tells you we should have hope, know that he's speaking from, do I say, a religious perspective, trying to make Nigerians go the religious way of the hope that the Bible preach or the Quran preaches.
Okay, well,
nothing other than that. We need actions.
I hope we're not going to shout hallelujah here, but let's still remain with the issues.
Yeah.
And one again I want your reactions from is let's look at this conditional cash transfer.
Yes.
It's still another way, like many will say, okay, we saw that the NLC immediately after that issue also requested for cash transfers to be transferred to Nigerians on account of the removal of the fuel subsidy. I want your reaction to the conditional cash transfer of this government. Do you feel it will help out to deal with the present pains most Nigerians are facing, or do you feel it's a no-no in all totality?
It's a total no, and no. Conditional cash transfer, how much? Now, not even assuming, we're in Ughelli today, we're in the city of Ughelli. If you were transferred that meager amount,
okay,
how many days can you run your vehicle from where you live to the studio? Now, what does it add to the stock your wife is going to the market to procure? Now, the biggest problem is, it is not even what it may add or not. How does it get to you? This government, the Nigerian government, has so many agencies that collect data of Nigerians, but they have no unified data system for Nigerians. So when you say conditional transfer, how do you know the people you are transferring to? The other time we were in COVID-19 era, schools were on hold, and the minister then told us that within that period they spent so amount of billions on school feeding program. Another time too, in the outgone administration, there was still the issue of conditional cash transfers, and then they gave all the statistics, the figures, the number of millions of Nigerians they are paid to. And then you ask yourself, in the city you live in, who among your acquaintances can turn their shares that we were credited? It is nil. That is never a solution. Do not tend to transfer money to me. Instead, collect it, fix what can affect me and my neighbor. If you pay a family, an average family of an average Nigerian family, we have the father, the mother, maybe 2 children, 4 children or so, and then you transfer a meager sum of 10,000 to them for a month. It's mockery.
Okay, we'll not mock around this, but plead with you to hold on. We need to go on a break now. But when we come back, we'll still talk about the issue of the present hardship and also the reform and policies of this administration, if they can really change the narrative or if they are the reason of where we are now. Let's go on a break.